All right, let's do fucking NATO. Trump says Israel, Iran exhausted from 12-day war, he says, at the fucking NATO summit.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
This always makes me happy. This video always makes me happy. It always puts a smile on my face. All right, let's watch Trump basically fuck Joe Biden's ex-girlfriend here, NATO, with his grubby little hands, molesting NATO. This has got to be the saddest thing, okay? Joe Biden turns on the TV, watches this man molest his baby, his child, okay? Fucking NATO. This is his life's work, and he's over there getting glazed by fucking Mark Rutte, calling him daddy and shit. It's so fucked up.
We're going to take you to the Netherlands now, where Donald Trump is speaking at the NATO summit. Let's listen in.
Beautiful country. Coming in, I saw the most beautiful trees. In fact, I want to bring some back with me. I want to also thank, I had breakfast this morning with the King and Queen, and they're incredible people. I said, you're central casting. Beautiful people, great people, big, beautiful heart. And I enjoyed that. And also, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's been terrific. He's been a friend of mine.
He's called me daddy.
Right here running this wonderful country. Now he's the NATO Secretary General. He's doing a fantastic job. And the Prime Minister, we appreciate everything you've done. And as you know, last weekend, the United States successfully carried out a massive precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, and it was very, very successful. It was called obliteration. No other military on earth could have done it, and now this incredible exercise of American strength has paved the way for peace, for the historic ceasefire agreement late Monday, and we call it the 12-day war. Spoke to a few people. I guess that just sounded like the right name. It was a 12-day war. And we think it's over. I don't think they're going to be going back at each other. I don't think so. Not only have we dealt decisively with the critical threat of Iran's nuclear program, which was what I wanted. I said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said that for 15 years, long before I decided to do the political thing. But we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The people at NATO said there's never been anything. You know, I rebuilt the entire military during my first term. And we have a great military. We have great generals. Got to know the good ones and the bad ones. We kept the good ones. Over the past 2 days, I was...
Trump being anti-NATO was so funny. He got all these countries to increase military spending while cutting social safety nets. Starmer, $70 billion spending for military while cutting few billion for disability benefits. Fuel allowance for poorest workers. Reform going to win in a landslide. Oh, yeah.
Was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Rutte, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions. Very knowledgeable people. Major focus of our conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe, and that included the financial burden. As you know, it was 2%, and we got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me. One in particular said, sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able, and you got it up to 5%.
I think one of the funniest parts about this is that people don't know this was initially a Barack Obama provision. And that's partially the reason why, while liberals freaked out about this demand early on, Joe Biden also kept it in place. And now Trump is even increasing it further. Now, of course, there's an issue with this. When he says, I want you to increase your military spending to 5%, he means like, buy from us, America, because we're the primary weapons manufacturer. The problem, on the other hand, is that all of these other countries, Germany in particular, are now building their own robust manufacturing capabilities to build their own defense industry. So it feels like America is basically creating a market competitor for themselves while also increasing militarism around the world. So especially because of the instability that Trump has caused around the world, I think the most dangerous aspect of this has been European countries wanting to militarize themselves instead of simply just buying more American weapons to the tune of 5% of their GDP. Trump campaigned against endless war, criticized NATO, and even became the first president in decades to name the military-industrial complex. Now back in power, he threatens Spain for refusing to allocate more of his GDP to NATO and the military-industrial complex.
Very well. The economy is very...
A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, you know, they're doing very well. The economy is very well.
He's like, I'm watching them. They got money. Why won't they give it to me? Buy my weapons. You got the money. You got the money. Your economy is doing very well. Give it to me.
And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. You know, Spain is the only country.
That's a threat, okay? When Trump says that economy could be blown right out of the water, if this was a more competent administration, if this was a more competent CIA, if this was a more competent NATO, I could totally see him doing like an Operation Gladio type situation. You know what I mean? Nice economy you got there. Would be a real shame if you were to lose it. I mean, this is Tony Soprano administration. Guys, in an incredibly selfish way, this is one of the aspects of the Trump administration that I actually do appreciate. Because as someone who has consistently been anti-NATO, anti-militarism, anti-war, anti-imperialism, it's a bit reductive to say all of those things at once because they're all the same thing. I have often said over and over again that NATO is a protection racket. That's what this is. And Trump leaves no room for doubt in the way that he speaks about NATO. That's it. When he goes, it'd be a real shame if you don't increase the amount of money you're spending on our weapons that you're buying. Your worst take, in my opinion. At first, I was going to get mad, and then I saw the chatter's name. And, you know, that's a brave hero in the chat, okay? You are allowed to have that name. You are allowed to have that opinion, Ryan. Ryan Ruthless. That's a real NATO head right there. That's Joe Brandon's strongest soldier right there. That's the one NATO AUKUS 5 eyes voter. Ryan Ruthless.
Country that, are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make
A question.
Like this right here, NATO is a protection racket. It is exactly the same thing that the mob does. This doesn't mean that there aren't other gangsters out there, the other organized crime elements out there. Russia is one of them, right? But a lot of people point to the largest organized crime unit and say, no, we have to be under the protective banner of this larger gangster because there's another group of gangsters out there, not realizing that you're still under a protection racket. That's all it is. At a certain point, America went to these countries in the aftermath of World War II and said, real nice economy you got there. We'll help you fix it up. Seems like it's been banged up. Banged up, I tell you. But there's gonna be a price. There's gonna be a price. One day, you're gonna have our troops stationed. You're gonna have our guy there. He's gonna protect you. Believe me, folks. He's gonna protect you. You don't want those other guys coming in and breaking your storefront again. Okay? And there were instances where people were like, no, I don't want to do this. Or there were places, there were countries where they were maybe not on board with this sort of thing. And do you know what happened in those countries? Explosions happened in those countries. Quite literally what Donald Trump is talking about here with Spain, what he's threatening, where he says, nice economy you got there. Be a real shame if there was instability. That's what he's talking about. If you don't have the interest, we'll find someone in your family who does.